You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Well, welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Guys, it's your host, Brian Fullerton. I'm here in studio, just hanging out by myself. Just wanted to do a solo dolo podcast. Wanted to do an episode talking to you guys about when to upgrade, how to upgrade, and maybe just a quick evolution of a lawn and landscape trailer setup. And this is actually related to a coaching call that I did just about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago now, by the time I'm recording this podcast. And basically the proposition or the question that the gentleman had amongst a bunch of other questions that we discussed through a coaching call was what to upgrade and when. How, what's the workflow, what should he be doing? And he had a few bucks in the bank. He had maybe like 10, 15 grand. Some things he wanted to upgrade. He just didn't know the workflow. So here's what I want to do. I get that question a ton from folks. When do I upgrade? What do I upgrade? How do I evaluate upgrading things? So on and so forth. And so this episode, I don't think it's going to be super lengthy, but I do want to cover just some practical ideas and mindset about when to buy a bagger, when to buy a new mower, when to buy a trailer, when to buy the truck. I feel like sometimes we all get overwhelmed with there's so much to do. There's just sometimes not enough finances to go around especially when you're just getting started. At least that was my story. So we have to be strategic. We have to, if we knock over that first domino, the second domino will fall. And as the second domino falls, the third larger domino falls. And we have to be able to go from first gear to sixth gear in that, Ferrari, right? We can't just go from 1 to 6. We're going to stall out the engine and we don't want to damage anything. So there's certain building blocks that we can build from. And so if you guys have ever wondered like, hey, what's the next step for my setup? I want to just share a couple of those different topics and ideas that I have for you guys. And so without further ado, here's what we're going to do. We're going to hear from one of our show sponsors, which is Equipment Defender. And then we're going to get right back into things.
Looking to outfit your trailer with the best racks in the industry? Head over to Equipment Defender. Be secure, look professional, be organized, stop thieves and damage in their tracks. Equipment Defender has racks for backpack blowers, trimmers, gas cans, backpack sprayers, and more. Stay organized, stay secure with Equipment Defender. All Equipment Defender racks work in either open or enclosed trailers. Get secure and organized today at equipmentdefender.com. And be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Equipment Defender.
Awesome. Well, good deal. We'll always appreciate Equipment Defender sponsoring the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. They've been a great asset and resource to the community. And if you guys know the name, they make all the equipment racks that you can store all your equipment on for your closed or open utility trailer for your lawn and landscape setup. So if you have trimmers, if you have blowers, if you guys have gas cans, trimmer line, spool holders, the whole deal, you can get those at equipmentdefender.com. And then Brian's 10 does save 10% on all orders, which is super, super exciting. Those guys have been just a tremendous asset to what I'm building here with the affiliate commissions that we do earn from those guys. We literally do pour it right back into the YouTube channel, this podcast, and all the resources that we bring to you guys. So thank you sincerely for the partnership. So let's go back to the conversation I had with this other gentleman. His story was he had about 16 grand in the bank. He had a half-ton truck. He had a single axle utility trailer. He had I think an older walk behind, and then he wanted to basically figure out how to continue to grow the business. And he was wondering, well, do I sink a bunch of cash into the business? Do I, finance a bunch of equipment? What do I upgrade first? Now, that was kind of my story. My story, if you guys have heard, and I'm not going to do this whole long, deep dive into my story. We have that on episode 1, and I think episode 10 is how to start a lawn care business. I kind of share my story, but my story was very similar, except for the 16 grand cash part. I had no money. I probably owed 16 grand on everything, right? Or whatever I had out there, maybe my car payment. But here's the long story short. When we're getting started in business, we do need a couple of the basic tools, right? We need a mower, we need a trimmer, we need a blower, we need a truck, we need a trailer. And sometimes when you add that up, I mean, you can spend 10, 12, 15 grand on a truck, no problem. You can spend 50,000 bucks on a truck, no problem. We need a utility trailer. A base one from Tractor Supply might be, I don't know, 800 bucks. You can spend $2,000 on a utility trailer, a nice one, a SureTrack or a couple other different brands out there, of course. A backpack blower. You can buy a $200, $300 backpack blower. You might top out with that really quick. And so you need a $500 or $600 backpack blower. We can buy mowers. We can buy mowers all day long. 36s, 52, 60 inches, 72s. So we have to upgrade the equipment so we can mow grass and make that cash, as my friend Paul Jamison says. But then we need baggers. And baggers can be, $200, $300, $400 for a Catch Pro or an accelerator bagger. They can be $4,000 for a powered vacuum that sucks up the leaves that hangs off the back of your zero-turn mower. So all these things, they add up. I mean, they add up a lot. And in the beginning, you can imagine we have, 5, 10, 15, 20 customers. We might have 2, 3, 4 grand of cash flow coming in. We're already starting to try to reinvest into marketing. We're trying to reinvest into the equipment. We're trying to pay ourselves something, right? $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a month. And so in the beginning, it's like there's not enough money to go around. So I want to work on that whole timeline, that whole spectrum of how we're going to start upgrading equipment, because here's my philosophy, here's my attitude, and this is just my suggestion. The more that we can keep bringing in cash flow, the more that we can keep bringing in money, the more we can keep making investments into that new equipment, right? So the idea is we want to keep our money moving. Like, people always ask me, hey man, what's the best piece of advice you can give me? A lot of the younger guys ask that. And my two statements always back are: 1, keep reinvesting, and 2, don't blow money on stupid stuff. Stupid stuff being cars, clothes, girls, when you're just fooling around, not a smart investment of your money. But number 2, keep reinvesting. So everything you make, if I could have it in a perfect scenario, I would, almost have, you not draw anything out of the business. Keep reinvesting into it for 2, 3, 4 years, maybe 5 years. I mean, honestly, 10, 15 years. Amazon today, they do almost $1 trillion or $1 trillion in revenue or valuation, but they still run almost at a net operating loss every single year. There's tax advantages for why they do that. There's a bunch of other stuff that they do behind the scenes, but Amazon doesn't make money. Believe it or not, Amazon does not make money. You think Amazon is big gargantuan. Well, basically, Amazon's trying to spend all that money to reinvest, to build the infrastructure, to not go from a $500, $800 billion, trillion-dollar company. They wanted to have a $50 trillion company. So while everybody's trying to take profits and everybody's trying to take care of shareholders, and they're trying to buy lifestyle, whatever that means at whatever level, Amazon's like, no, we're just going to lose money where we can. We're going to reinvest every single thing that we can. And it's no surprise why Jeff Bezos is worth $200 billion. So here's my biggest suggestion to you guys is look at what wealthy people do. Well, I mean, some people are crooks and some people keep reinvesting money. So build your business and model after other successful people. For me, I try to reinvest as much as I can because I want to grow my cash flow. There's 4 different ways that we can make money, right? There's commodities, there's paper, there's real estate, and then there's businesses. So if businesses are going to be your cash cow, your cash flow, and that's going to be how you make your money and how you create income, well, then we want to reinvest every single thing we can. Now, if you want to use your businesses to create wealth, well, then we have to grow those companies and we have to probably grow them pretty large. Well, that's where I'm at right now. Right now, my asset category is businesses. I have 2 businesses. I have my lawn and landscape company. I've got my media company. And I invest hand over fist into both of these. Why? Because I want to continue to, as I said in a previous episode, I think actually on Paul Jamison's podcast, episode 200, where we got to tell our story, I said, we're trying to feed the goose that lays the golden egg. Well, if you're going to have this goose that lays golden eggs, what kind of food do you want to feed that goose? Hopefully the best goose food that money can buy. And what does that mean in business? That means when you look at your business, you want to feed that baby as much as you can. And the better you take care of its nutrition at the beginning, the healthier it's going to grow. It's really, really simple as I kind of look at it through my observation of my business story and many others. So let's go through this whole evolution of this gentleman's equipment and this gentleman's setup. And that was my whole story again. I had a Dodge Durango that I had borrowed from my brother. He was at Michigan State. They couldn't have a vehicle on campus for his first year, maybe second year even. So he had to leave the Dodge Durango back at home. That was Brian's Lawn Maintenance 1.0, humble beginnings. Now his second year in college, whether it was his sophomore year, I think it was, I don't know if he was on campus or if he got an apartment by then. He was, being the cool kid on campus. So he was able to take his truck then up to school. So I had to buy that red F-150 after my first year in business. That was that Brian's Lawn Maintenance 1.0, kind of 2.0 rig that some of you guys have seen from the early days of my YouTube channel back, 2016. Now, same thing. When I was getting going, I had to buy a little utility trailer from Tractor Supply. Then I eventually upgraded that to the 6.5 by 12 from Kelly & Sons Trailers. That's my trailer dealer here in Carlton, Michigan. And I had a bigger trailer. I was able to put 2 mowers on there, one sideways and one straight up. And then what did we do from there? We upgraded the backpack blowers. I had a bunch of Red Max 5150s. We burned through those. We got 7500s. Still, I think the best backpack blower ever. And then from there, we took the Red Max 7500s and we upgraded them to 8500s, Husqvarna 580s, the Steel BR 800. Of course, some of this stuff was gifted to us from these different brands. Is part of doing the whole YouTube thing, which is a huge blessing. We never expected that. And then somewhere along the way, we have like 7 or 8 backpack blowers, and it's just ridiculous. So, but that's how things started evolving. I went from 48-inch Viking walk-behinds to 60-inch Laser Z S lawnmowers to Exmark 60-inch Laser Z X series lawnmowers. I went from no baggers to bagging systems. I went from my red F-150 to my F-250. We went from no dump truck or no dump insert to a buyer's dump insert. So here's what I want to say. Let's talk about the evolution of my equipment. Let's talk about the evolution of your guys' equipment. Now, in the beginning, let's be really, really simple here. We run lawn care businesses. We run lawn and landscape businesses. A lot of you guys that are listening, you're probably mowing. You're probably even mowing right now. Lord knows. Every time I listen to Paul or Julio's or Britt Dowd's podcast, all these other guys that have great podcasts out there in the industry, Keith Kalfas, I'm listening to their podcasts all day long while I mow grass. Well, when I got started, we had a 48-inch Viking walk-behind lawnmower and my little utility trailer. Well, if we want to upgrade the next thing on the spectrum, on the evolution of our business, we got to think, where is the low-hanging fruit? How can we continue to bring in revenue and grow the company? Now, I'm not going to talk about landscaping. I'm not going to talk about aerations and overseeds. I'm not going to talk about snow plowing. We're going to keep it focused on lawn care for this exact evolution of what we're doing. Although leaf cleanups, I guess you could say, is kind of more of a landscaping service, full property maintenance. But to me, that's still kind of in the category of lawn mowing, right? So a lot of you guys are listening in and you have a lawnmower, whether it's a 30-inch push mower, you have a 48-inch walk behind, a 52-inch stand on, maybe a zero-turn lawnmower. We have to figure out how to increase revenue. Now, here's the option that I was presenting to this guy. We had to kind of actually put forth a 18-month game plan or a timeline on when to upgrade certain things, because he had a half-ton truck, that single axle utility, a walk-behind mower. So he wasn't able to do leaves effectively. He wasn't able to vacuum effectively. He wasn't able to bag any leaves because he didn't have a bagger. And so he wasn't able to carry a lot of weight around either because he had that utility trailer. So here's what his evolution was. And it's funny because I basically did the exact same thing. In the beginning, a lot of us, we have a half-ton truck. And this is just my opinion, by the way, but this is how I can see making that little bit of money that in cash flow that we do have, continue to reinvest, continue to grow. And as it grows, we can buy equipment, we can acquire new assets to bring in cash flow, and we can continue to grow our revenue, which allows us to leverage debt or pay cash for things and continue that snowball, that momentum cycle upwards with doing more services and making more money. Really, really simple. So in the beginning, like that guy had a 48-inch walk behind. Well, so did I. And I said, well, here's the option that you have up next. Because he wanted to start growing his lawn maintenance business. He wanted to get that 60-inch lawnmower. Now, at the time, we're talking right now, July, August of 2020. And he's like, well, if I can get out of this walk behind and I can go get a stander or a 60-inch mower, I want to be able to mow grass and take on larger properties. I think he was a little bit more rural. So a 60-inch stander or a 60-inch zero turn just made sense. And I was like, dude, I know exactly where you're at because that's where I was at. So I suggested to him, I said, and he wanted to upgrade the truck. He wanted to get a dump truck. He's like, what do I do first? And I said, well, the first thing that we got to look at is, even if you did the larger properties, you can't really do them with this 48-inch. So we have to evolve and get that 60-inch mower. Now, here's the thing I was trying to tell him. It's August. It's August, September. A lot of the jobs that you're looking at, they're already being worked on. All those bids, all those properties, all those new customers, for the most part, people are pretty happy with their lawn service in August. There's 2, maybe 3 months for a lot of us. People are kind of winding down that thought about shopping about lawn care service. Nobody's in the market. Those contracts get sold in, September, October, November at best, and usually January, February, March the following year. I said, so let's not necessarily grow and add the zero turn just yet, because you're going to be only able to use that for about 2 months. And after 1 month, your new $300-400 a month payment is going to kick in. Now, here's the thing too, and it's going to be sitting for 4 months. And the other thing is, if you buy that mower with that bagger, well, now you got a zero turn mower for 12 to 15 grand and a bagger. That bagger is going to be the better part of $3 to $4 grand, more likely $4,500. So I said, let's not drop 20 grand 2 months before the off season, right? Let's not have a $500 a month payment going into the off season where you're not going to have any revenue necessarily coming in. Now, this guy did have a little bit of cash in the bank, so it was okay. He could have padded it. So he could have bridged it. No big deal. But I said, let's get the low hanging fruit money now. I said, how's the 40-inch walk behind doing? He said, great. I go, does it cut? Does it stripe? He goes, yeah, it's my little workhorse right now. It's not the fanciest thing, but it does the job. And I was thinking back to myself. I said, I have that 48-inch Viking walk behind back in the day, my old X-Mark Viking 48-inch walk behind, little hydro. It was just a champ of a mower. And I told him, well, why don't we, if we're looking at fall cleanups, because he wanted to make more money with fall cleanups. I said, well, how many customers do you have? I think he had like 20 or 30, maybe 40. And I said, okay, how many cleanups do you expect to do? And he said, I don't know, maybe 10, 12, maybe 20 if I really get lucky and I start passing out flyers and marketing and try to get more customers. I said, okay, well, let's build on that. I said, we don't have any guaranteed work. Nothing is sold. We're going into leaf cleanups for really realistically the first time. I think he might have been in business for 2, maybe 3 years. I think it was like his second year. I said, so we don't have any bankable income. Right, that's the biggest thing. We don't have any guaranteed work, nothing signed off on. We're still expanding services and getting the word out. I said, so why don't we at least try to take care of leaf cleanups with a walk behind unit and a Catch Pro? Now, it's not a plug for Ballard products just to plug it, but I said for $250 or whatever, you can get an all aluminum Catch Pro and swing that bad boy on the side of your walk behind mower. I said, you're only going to be able to do 2, 3, 4 cleanups a day. I said, but through October and of course into November, and some of you guys down south, all through December, you can be doing leaf cleanups. I said, so why don't we take that 40-inch walk behind, do the best we can with blowing out all the beds, blow out the whole backyard, maybe take the mower and just keep shooting all the discharge to one side and shoot it all the way to the wood line. Have one guy on the mower doing that back and forth, and then have another guy with a leaf blower and shooting all the leaves in the backyard for some of these properties into the wood line. And I said, that's going to take care of half of your debris. And let's take all the leaves in the front yard. We blow out the beds. We have a whole training program, how to get started with spring and fall cleanups. Great resource at launchpreneuracademy.com. We teach you how to do all of this. I said, let's blow out the whole front yard, take that 40-inch walk behind, and for $250, $300, get a Catch Pro from ballardinc.com, #Brian's10, saves 10% or whatever. And I said, let's throw that on the walk behind and start raking up these leaves, sucking up these leaves. Let's do a couple passes, mulch them all up, and then we'll do a couple more passes and vacuum up all the debris. And I said, well, look, we don't have a dump truck. We don't have a dump insert. You can't really throw a bunch of weight on that single axle trailer just yet, so we can't get that zero turn and that bagger anyway. We can't go buy that bagger because we don't have any guaranteed work, and we don't want to have a 20 grand payment in the off season. So let's start with a bagger. A simple little walk behind with a Catch Pro all aluminum bagger or an accelerator bagger, pick your poison. And now we can start expanding fall services. I said, so you got a couple options with the truck. I said, what do you got? He's like, I got a regular F-150. I can throw a bunch of stuff back there. I said, cool. I said, tarp it up, throw a couple tarps back there. It's not pretty, but you know what? This is what you do. In the beginning, it's called sweat equity. It's called hustling. And this is what you get access to. Now, what I told him is go buy one of those little like $100 things that bolts to the, not bolts, but straps to the tailgate. You lay that tarp out. It's got a little conveyor system. You can get them at like Northern Tool and Ace Hardware. You guys have seen them before. Go on Amazon and you can, go throw maybe 2 yards at most, maybe 1.5 yards of debris, leaf material, sticks and branches in the back of your pickup. And look, you got your little chariot, bro. It's not fancy. It's not cool. It's not thunder going down the road. And you got this big $90,000 rig or whatever. Okay, who cares, bro? I didn't get started that way. I got started with, I got to make this thing work. I got to bring in cash flow. And if I can do 3 or 4 leaf cleanups for, $350 each, and I can do 3 or 4 a day and make $1,000 gross. Look, that was good money to me back then. It's still good money to me today. I mean, I don't know if you guys listen to this, but $1,000 a day gross, and I net $600 after materials, labor and fuel and all the overhead. Hey, I'll take a $500, $600, $700 a day all day long. So I said, let's keep the truck working. Let's not trade in the truck or do anything crazy. We can't do anything with the mower. We don't want to do anything with the trailer. Look, let's sweat it out. Let's just use what we have access to and keep things growing. Now, here was the evolution. I said, you're going to have to get through winter. You get 2-3 months off. Most of us all do. Let's go into the following spring. And by the way, I could have done that with my 48-inch Viking walk behind 12 years ago. My first year, my second year in business when I had that 48-inch Viking. The Catch Pro, it basically goes on every single lawnmower. You might need a different bracket or two, but from what I understand, they're pretty universal. We're going to be rocking one this fall, so email or DM Corey Ballard, and he can hook you up with hook you up with the details to see what your mower might need. But $250, you're in the leaf game. Okay, get some tarps. This is what the guy was doing before. He was blowing all the leaves out. He was tarping everything. All the leaves are really fluffy, really airy. They would blow all over the place, and it's just like herding cats. It was impossible. I said, well, let's flush that. Let's get a little $250 bagger, and now you can start being effective at leaves. You might only do 10 or 15 leaf cleanups. And yes, we're chasing that first 15 customers and making, that $4,500 to $5,000. But what we're doing is we're building our customer base. We're building the ability to have repeat business the following year. So that means when we go into fall or spring of 2021, but let alone fall of 2021, now the 15 that you had last year, you're going to have 13 of those 15 people are going to want service. So now you can bank on $4,500 of leaf cleanups, maybe $5,000 if you were able to increase those rates a little bit. And then you have $5,000 of pretty much guaranteed bankable income that you can project and build on. And we'll get into that in a minute. Now, here's the cool opportunity. As we went into spring of 2021 with this gentleman's story, which I just thoroughly enjoyed because we really broke things down, I said, now we've got the option to expand. I said, now we've got some cash in the bank. We've got some customers that we're going to be able to do spring cleanups for. I said, now you want to grab those larger accounts for mowing. You want to take your 30 or 40 customers to 50, 60, 70. We want to upgrade the trailer. We want to upgrade the mower with the bagger. Now, here's what I said. If I was you, the first thing that I would do is he had a couple bucks in the bank. I said, why don't you upgrade the trailer and pay cash? You don't really get good rates on trailers. Most of you guys that have ever bought a trailer, it's 48 or 42 months, maybe 60 months. It's usually pretty 6.9, 7.9% interest rate. Sometimes it's higher. Sometimes it's 8, 9, 10. I financed mine, and it was I think 6.9 or 7.9%. It wasn't the best, but you know what? It is what it is. Back then I needed it. I paid 18 months of payments and then we just paid it straight up off. But it was 10 grand and it was like $205 a month, whatever it was. So here's what I told the guy. You're not going to get a favorable interest rate on a trailer, just like you don't get a favorable interest rate on a plow. So some things I finance and some things I pay cash for. I like leveraging debt. I am that guy. I had a great episode called Don't Dull the Scalpel. You can always learn, how my mindset was with that. I think it's like episode 18 or 19. So I told him, let's go into the spring of 2021, pay cash for a new trailer. Well, why do we have to pay cash for a new trailer? Why do we have to buy a new trailer? Well, he has a single axle trailer, and that 48-inch walk behind mower that he had was a great way to, tote that thing around town. The problem is that if we upgrade to a zero-turn mower and that thing weighs 1,200 pounds and another 250 pounds for the bagger, I said you could possibly throw that on the trailer, but let's be realistic. We want to upgrade to a tandem or dual or double axle trailer. So a good double axle trailer, a tandem axle trailer is going to be anywhere from $1,200 to $2,500. It just depends on options. Here's the thing. If you guys are hauling around 3 mowers, and trimmers and blowers, and you got, I don't know, $50,000 worth of equipment, don't cheap out on it by getting the $1,200 angle iron trailer with, tandem axles and, just bulb type headlights. Like, it's like the guys that buy, I've said this before on a podcast, the guys that buy the $125,000 Malibu boat, and then they buy a $1,500 trailer to tote that $150,000 boat. No. Invest in a good quality trailer, because if that trailer breaks or that trailer has issues, it doesn't matter how many mowers you have. If it ain't able to trolley to the next station and go to the next stop, it doesn't matter. You ain't making any money unless you're going to be riding your lawnmowers down the highway to the next property. You know what I'm saying? So invest in a good quality trailer. A $1,200 trailer and a $2,200 trailer, you're like, well, it's only $800 difference. How much different can it be? A gob. Look at the framing. Look at the A frame versus the C frame. Look at angle iron versus 2-inch tube top. Look at 3,500 pound axles versus 1,700 pound axles. Look at 5,200 pound axles versus 3,500 pound axles. Look at all LED lights and all the rubber grommets, whatever, that are taking care of all the lights and everything sealed up from moisture, and you're not going to have burnouts, shorts, all this other mess. A good quality trailer. Look, I'm not a trailer salesman, but I know that there's a difference between a $1,200 trailer and a $2,200 trailer. So that's what I did, right? I went from the, the Tractor Supply trailer, the little 5x8 mesh floor, mesh ramp, single axle, no brakes, bulb type headlights, no LEDs. And I went from an $800 trailer I went to my local trade show, my MGIA, Michigan Green Industry Association trade show, and I met a trailer dealer there. And it was Sue and Tim Kelly of Kelly & Sons Trailers. And I got to learn all this stuff. That's where I learned about how trailers are built, how they're made, why they're different, the difference between a $2,000 trailer and a $1,200 trailer. So that's what I did. I bought a 6.5 by 12 utility trailer. It was, 1 foot tall sides, wood floor, mesh ramp, and it was a great little trailer. Now, my other thing that I'll say is that I bought the wrong trailer, straight up. That trailer was like $2,200. I should have just sprung the other $400 or $500 for a 7 by 14 or 7 by 16. So if I was going to encourage you guys to upgrade a trailer, get a 7 by 14, get a 7 by 16. You can put 2 mowers on there, maybe even 3, depending on how you position them. 6.5 by 12, not so much. You're going to basically outgrow that thing in a heartbeat. So within a season for sure. So here's what I told the guy. Let's just keep moving. I said, upgrade your trailer the following spring, pay cash because you had a couple bucks cash and you can't get a favorable interest rate. I said, upgrade the trailer. Let's get something that can carry that new zero-turn lawnmower. And that's what he and I decided that would be a pretty good course of action. So as we continue to grow and we go through this, now he's got the ability to do spring and fall cleanups. Now he's got the ability to tow around a brand new lawnmower. And the other caveat was he's going to purchase a brand new zero-turn mower with that bagger in the spring of 2021. So what were we able to do? Well, we were able to continue to make the equipment that we had work and make money for us in 2020 with that walk behind and the catch bro. We're also able to now use that as a backup mower and a secondary mower on properties if we have a second or third guy helping us grow. We are going into spring of 2021, and now we do have a $400 or $500 a month payment because most of us are going to finance something like that. Let's just be honest. And I said, now you have the ability to bid and grow larger properties and bid and take on larger sites, whether they're residential or commercial. Awesome. We have a commercial contract that's available for $20. It's a downloadable, editable document that you can start bidding commercial sites with confidence. I mean, it's an amazing resource. Lots of you guys have downloaded that over the years. Again, available at launchpreneuracademy.com. These resources are here for you guys. It's just a great opportunity to have a plug and play document. Well, now that gentleman, he was talking about hey man, there's this huge apartment complex I wanted to take on. And if I had this zero turn and this other mower and, two guys, one trimming, one blowing, we could knock this thing out. And it's like $400 or $500 a week. He's like, man, I could take care of that mower payment. No problem. He's like, I know the person that could get me the account. It's a shoe in. It's a 100% I can get it. I said, awesome. Well, let's line yourself up to position yourself to get it in the spring of 2021. And so now he can take that mower and not only grow his lawn maintenance, but now he can grow his leaf cleanup game, right? Now he knows how to do spring cleanups because he did a bunch of fall cleanups. Now he's competent. Now he's effective. Now he understands that he has a system to it. He understands how to blow out all the beds first, do all the pruning, blow out the beds again. He can get everything into the middle of the yard. He can do a couple passes all over the yard to mulch up the leaves a little bit, kind of reduce the size of the leaves. He knows how to bag them all up. He knows how to dump them in the bed of the truck. He knows how to be effective and make, $300, $400, $500 doing a leaf cleanup in an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours. So we're going to build on that. So now we have the ability to capture spring revenue. We have the ability to mow and grow our customer base with mowing clients, and we can start bringing in cash flow. Now we can take his business from, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month to $5,000, $8,000, $10,000 a month. Well, how? With more mowing and more clients, because he's able to take on larger properties and more properties because he's more productive, more efficient, and more profitable with that zero-turn lawnmower. I think his brand was Hustler that he was going with. Awesome. It's not a brand that we really see a lot around here, but Hustler is huge in different regions of the country. So that was the idea to grow his business. The evolution was, let's get a Catch Pro or a background to walk behind. Let's start getting some more revenue in for those leaf cleanups. Let's start being able to put the equipment that we already have to work longer, but not leverage ourselves and get pinched by the off season and buying things too soon. I said, it's only a couple more months. It's a couple more months of sweat equity. Honestly, you'll be glad that you did. So you're not paying $500 a month for this new mower and bagger over the off season. So we're in the 2021. He's got the new trailer that he just paid cash for. Why? Because he didn't get a favorable rate and he was able to pay cash for it because he had a couple bucks. He's able to buy that trailer and support that huge lawnmower and bagger. And now he's got a $450 to $500 a month payment as he's able to now grow his lawn maintenance business and his spring and fall cleanups, right? So where does he go from there? Well, let's continue this whole story here in just a quick second. I'm going to take a quick break. We're going to hear from our show sponsors, which is Equipment Defender. And then I'm going to tell you guys when he was able to, on this budget and on this timeline, start looking at eyeballing about picking up the new truck. So let's do this. Let's hear from our show sponsors, which is Equipment Defender, and then we'll get right back into it.
Looking to outfit your trailer with the best racks in the industry? Head over to Equipment Defender. Be secure, look professional, be organized, stop thieves and damage in their tracks. Equipment Defender has racks for backpack blowers, trimmers, gas cans, backpack sprayers, and more. Stay organized, stay secure with Equipment Defender. All Equipment Defender racks work in either open or enclosed trailers. Get secure and organized today at equipmentdefender.com. And be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Equipment Defender.
Awesome. I love it. Well, Equipment Defender and equipmentdefender.com, great show sponsors. Matt and Dave, you guys know those guys. They've been at GIE. They've been at our live event. They've actually interacted with a ton of you guys. Well, Brian's 10 saves 10% on all orders, which is always appreciated and great. Saves you guys a lot of money as well. I mean, I think of the $175,000 that we've saved our fans, viewers, listeners, all of you guys, the last 3-4 years, I would say that probably $75,000 of that is 10% savings for all of you guys has come from Equipment Defender. How cool is that? So if anybody ever wants to talk junk, hey, about me, hey, that's cool. What did you do for the community? Because I saved my friends and family about $75,000. So I put my money where my mouth is about helping you guys with getting these great products, getting them at a discount. Somebody was asking, well, where's Brian's 20? I said, well, look, when we move about $1 million for each of these companies, maybe we can go renegotiate. Because I'm trying to do all the time, go to bat for you guys, get these partnerships and these brand deals. Not for me. I frankly couldn't care less. I remember buying all this stuff and I'm like, $200 for trimmer racks? Well, hey, you know what? I'm doing my part. Hey, save 10%, Brian's 10, and let's get you $20 off, get some free shipping, whatever the deals are for all the different affiliates, and keep these things moving forward.
Ratings and reviews. Each week, we take a minute to highlight your guys' reviews of the show.
Awesome. Well, hey guys, every week we try to take a couple quick seconds here and just highlight some of the ratings and reviews that came in on the show. Guys, if you know that the ratings and reviews are one of the most important pieces of feedback or social proofing that you guys can help us with the podcast. If you're enjoying the episodes and you're enjoying the show, the only thing I ask from you guys, besides sharing them on Instagram, is just to leave us some, social proofing, some ratings, some reviews. It really does go a long way. So we have two that we're going to highlight right here really quick. One is from Awesome Red 10. He says, amazing for the green industry. He says, I am a lawn and landscape business owner myself. I've gained so much knowledge about how to be more efficient with my time, new methods to become more productive, as well as more professional. He goes on to say a couple more niceties about how his bookkeeping, his sales, his accounting, and everything in between has improved by listening to the podcast. So that is awesome. Glad to hear that the content is helping you guys out. That feedback is super, super important. And you know what? That's why we do these podcasts, to help you guys grow your businesses. Hello, this is awesome. Another one, Tara Turf. It says, real stories from the real green industry owners. If you're a small operator, you need to listen to this. You are not alone with all the craziness of owning a business brings. And it says pure motivation. Awesome. Well, Terra Turf, we really appreciate the kind words. And guys, you know what? That's what it's all about. You know what? You guys are out there all day cutting grass, or you're on the lawnmower, you're doing landscaping, or you know what? Maybe you're listening to this late night and you guys are at the gym, or, on the Peloton. Who knows? Whatever you guys are doing to stay fit, stay healthy. You know what? These reviews go a long way. And the content is helping you guys out from all the feedback you guys are getting, which just encourages me to keep it going. So guys, if you haven't left us a rating or a review just yet, we really appreciate it. Go ahead, scroll all the way down, hit the 5 stars, leave us a couple sentence review. We really appreciate it. And you know what? We just might read it on next week's show.
Want us to read your review next? Let us know how we're doing, and we might just read your review on next week's show.
So, all right, let's go back to the spring of 2021. My friend here that we were doing this coaching call with, we were just having such a great conversation. I said, now you can start crushing it. I said, now you can start putting money in the bank. Now, his wife, I think, was working as well. So what he made in the business, he was able to reinvest or bank and just have that as income for the business. And he was, he was profitable. He was already had a good little business started, 20, 30 customers, like I said. His overhead was extremely low, and he had great clients, great prices, and he was able to continue on with the business. So as we go into 2021 in this evolution, and he got that new zero-turn mower, he is now able to grow that revenue big time and start putting a gob in the bank. And frankly, I remember it with my own story too, with my Laser ZS lawnmower. Now, I did not buy the bagger with my mower back in the day, but I was able to buy that 60-inch Laser ZS, which is like that mid-tier Laser Z top-line mower. But you know what? I never bought the bagger. I never got into leaf cleanups. I never got into doing anything more full service. I was a 100% mow and blow guy. And that's why I say, man, I left probably $250,000 to $500,000 on the table over a 10-year period by not doing aerations, not doing cleanups, not doing snow plowing at such a different level that we now have today. It's just ridiculous. Some of you younger guys that are just getting started, you're full service and you're doing all of it. And I tip my hat to you guys. Don't make the same mistakes I did, where I was just afraid of expanding services and putting myself out there. Launchpreneuracademy.com, tons of great programs and resources for you guys to learn how to do that without having to cut your teeth necessarily. You're still going to have to learn a few lessons, but again, just like I did an episode with Blake that you guys will hear soon, you guys can mess up once or twice and not 25 times like some of us had to do. So here's what we're going to do. I told the gentleman, as we go through 2021, and maybe some of you guys are in the same boat, because I know I was, you make a bunch more revenue, you have a bunch more cash on hand, and you have a couple options. I said, why don't you go ahead? And the next step is that he wanted to upgrade the truck. He wanted to upgrade the truck to a 2500 something. It was a 3/4 ton. He wanted a nice new cooler truck. The one he had is kind of it was showing its age. I think it was like a 2010 or 2012 Chevy 1500. And he was starting to have a couple issues with it. I mean, not because it's a Chevy, but just because it was getting older too, right? So just having fun for all my Chevy fans. Hashtag Team Ford, right? Whatever. I'm just having fun. But it was a great conversation because he said, well, the trucks are getting a little bit older. Realistically, I need to start doing some stuff to it, which is going to cost me a gob, or want to buy a new truck. Now, I told him, how much do you want to spend on the truck? I said, do you want to spend 20 grand? Do you want to spend 50 grand? Do you want to spend 75 grand? I said, it's all up to you. I said, I've got my suggestions and opinions on it, but what do you want to do? And he goes, well, I don't need the nicest, newest, 2020 Duramax diesel $70,000 truck. I went, good, because I was going to advise you against that. I said, what's a conservative buy that would, tide you over and help grow the company? And we were talking about it. I forget exactly what he said, but it was a 2,500 something. He said a 2 or 3 year old one. It was going to be 25 to 35,000 bucks. It was going to be a nice newer truck. Again, it's still a work truck. I said, awesome. Well, let's think about how we can get there. So I said, here's what I don't want you to do. I don't want you to have a $500 a month mower payment with that bagger and then buy a new truck, even if you finance it, and even if it's only 30,000 bucks or 35,000 bucks, depending on what you put down. I said, I don't want you to have a $600, $700 a month truck payment necessarily. Not at the same time. Do one or the other. But in my opinion, unless you really, really have to, I don't want to see you get bit with a $500 payment, an $800 payment, the financing the trailer for $200 a month. You finance this, you finance that, you got a credit card, and then, you're just drowning in debt. We don't want to do that. So what I said, let's build this thing in tiers. I said, let's go through the 2021 season with that new bagger and that new mower. I said, how realistic is it for you to make $20,000 profit? I said, and pay off that mower and bagger with your fall cleanups from 2021. He said, well, I'm already making 10, 15, 20 grand a year that I can put in the bank with only 30, 40 customers. He's like, I got a good little business, a good little thing going here. My wife's working and I'm starting to grow this thing and it's making some money. I said, so you should be making 40, 50, 60,000 bucks, even with all the overhead that you have, which is very minimal. He goes, yeah, for sure, dude. He goes, I should be able to make almost double that. I said, all right, well, let's do that. I said, let's go through 2021. And by the fall, let's set a goal to pay off that new Hustler Super Z and that bagger. Let's just say it's 18,500 bucks. I said, does that seem like a realistic goal? He said, yeah. I said, awesome, brother. Well, let's do that. Let's go through the next 6 months. Let's make sure that we're not making payments, additional payments as we go. Let's make a regular monthly payment, put in a gob. And I said, again, there's some stuff that you got to maybe work with your CPA here too, because you can do a one-time deduction and write the 20 grand off. If you pay it all off in the same year, it could be extremely advantageous to you. Some of you guys, you want to finance the mower over 3 years or 4 years or 6 years, whatever it is, and you have to work with your CPA about getting your deductions and breaking it up in the right way. Different equipment is able to be depreciated in different ways. Some things are 1 year, some things are 3, some things are 5, some things are 7, some things, commercial buildings are 20 or 30 years. So there's different things that we can do. So that's where you want to have that conversation with your CPA and say, hey, here's what I'm expecting to do or planning to do. What does it look like tax-wise? Can you maybe help me dial this airplane in, kind of help me land the plane, and have those conversations? Lord knows I'm talking to my CPA all the time. Here's what I want to do. And he's like, oh my gosh. He's like, we're doing a bunch of stuff, aren't we? I'm like, yep. But you know what? We have intelligent conversation and we're able to get a game plan. That way we don't mess up our finances. That way we don't mess up our taxes, right? And so here's the long story short. I told the gentleman, I said, let's pay off that mower and bagger in your first year. I said, why not? I said, you don't have any other overhead. I said, the business is small. The business is manageable. You don't have employees in a shop and all this other mess. I said, let's pay that thing off. I said, then we can get to the final part, the final phase, which is buying the truck. And here's the funny thing. And this is what I'll say, because I know how you guys work and how you guys think. Because honestly, that's how I think. The goal was to get the truck. Let's be honest. The goal is to get the cool truck, the cool shop, the camper, the four-wheelers, the house. You guys want the end result and the nicer things. Yo, I'm in the exact same boat. Look, I wanted my truck 5 years ago, 10 years ago, but I had to go through all the other stuff because if we didn't have revenue coming in, we run a business. We had to make sure we had the money coming in to be able to do that, right? So I know a lot of you guys want the nice, cool 2500, Chevy, the 1500, the $2,500 Ram, the F-250. Look, I get it. I'm right there with you. But we have to make sure that we're approaching it intelligently, having patience, having margin, and just making sure that we're not going to drown ourselves out in debt. Now, that's not bad. Just we don't want to drown ourselves out in debt, okay? So that's what I told him. Pay off the mower, pay off the bagger, and then make sure you have enough money in the bank, and we'll pay that off at the end of the year. Because let's talk to our CPA and see what our CPA suggests as well. Now, I'm in the process right now of paying off my truck because I'm talking to my CPA. I want to make certain moves before I make my buy my house. I get a mortgage, and we're just lining up my own personal roadmap, my own personal finances. So I'm doing the exact same stuff I tell you guys to do. Just be intentional, include other people in those conversations so you guys can make right choices. Now, I said, where we go from there with wanting to upgrade and expand your leaf cleanups, I said, you got two options. Number one, if you pay off the trailer, which we already did, if you pay off the mower, I should say, and you pay off the bagger, and you've got 20 grand in the bank, you can go and now buy that nice truck. I said, now you have two options. You can wait till 2022 spring. It's only 18 months. I mean, that's the cool thing. It's only 18 months from now. It's not 5 years. I said, in the spring of 2022, in this example, you can go buy that new truck and upgrade, or you can upgrade the fall before. I said, just what we want to do is when we buy a new vehicle, okay, if you can't pay cash, I get it. Most of us aren't. I know somebody wants to be a hero out there and say, pay cash for everything, and debt's bad. That's great. I love that those people. But hey, I live in the real world where some of us don't have, a silver spoon, and we have to fight for every single thing that we have. And that's where I came from. So while everybody wants to say, debt's bad, I'm like, cool. Well, what other options are you proposing? Me use crappy equipment and not be able to expand? Again, go listen to the episode, Don't Dull the Scalpel. It's like episode 19. I really break that down. But look, long story short, we go into the fall of 2021. You got two options. You can buy that $35,000, $40,000 truck or $20,000 truck and put $5,000 down, put $10,000 down, or put nothing down. Put the minimum down. Let's say it's $2,500. Let's say it's $5,000, and now you have a $550 a month truck payment. Okay, so what? It's not the end of the world. You don't have that mower payment anymore. Your equipment's paid for. You've got your cash flow coming in at 10, 12, 15, 20 grand a month with all your mowing. You can crush it with leaves, and we can continue to expand. My proposal was, because he asked, well, why don't I put $5,000 down on the truck and take the monthly payment from $750 a month down to $550 a month? I said, that's not a bad thought. I said, but can I counter with something? He said, sure. I said, just a suggestion. As a business owner, we're always trying to have a return on investment. We're trying to invest for gains. We're trying to invest for gains for cash flow. I said, if you put that $4,000 or $5,000 down on the truck, yeah, you are going to save $200 a month in your monthly payment. I said, but if I can propose something to you, why don't you take that same $4,000 to $5,000, and go buy a dump insert for the truck and eliminate a bottleneck with doing your spring and fall cleanups? I said, your capacity in the bottleneck right now, the bottleneck of your capacity is going to be hauling debris away. Now, we're not going to buy a $75,000 dump truck or a $15,000 or $25,000 dump truck that has 400,000 miles on it. If you want to do that, that's cool. I don't do that because I'm not mechanically sound. Now, if you want to be wrenching on diesel trucks all day, all night in the off season and replace this and replace that and open up an engine, hey, some of you guys have that skill set. For me, no. I'm going to take it to my dealer, drop it off, and tell them, just send me a check, send me a bill. How much is it? $1,100? All right, I'll figure the rest out. Now, all things being said, why don't you go buy the $4,000 dump insert I told him, and now you can take your leaf cleanup game from $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, right? Because we're building from the 2020 fall season into 2021. Now we can expand that to $8,000, $10,000, $12,000, $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 in leaf cleanups because we've got that 3 or 4 yard capacity dump insert from Buyers Products, right? A little plug for those guys. I said, having $4,000 down on the truck, yeah, it might save you $200 a month. But why wouldn't you take that $4,000, again, reinvest for gains, buy the dump insert, and now you're able to expand your cash flow and your revenue significantly more. What is that, 20x, 50x by being able to have that dump insert versus having a $200 a month less payment? I said, so let's do that. And he goes, dude, this is awesome. I said, well, that's what we would do. That's what I did. What I did is I only had so much money going in. I wanted to expand my company. I know I needed to have more cash flow coming in to A, pay cash, or B, to finance. It's just a really simple equation. The more I had coming in, the more opportunity and ability it gave me to grow my company. Now, if you're paying cash as you go, awesome, dude. Like, I'm all about that life. So I'm not telling you to not pay cash. I'm just saying we have limited funds. We have limited resources. We have to figure out where, $5 is going, where we really need 10, but we don't have the other 5 and we don't want to be massively in debt. So let's do this. Let's stair step. Let's continue to grow. Let's break it down into bite-sized little pieces. Let's get a roadmap. Let's figure out that if we get from here, we can go to there. If we go to there, we can get to C. If we go from C, we can go to D. But it's really, really hard to go from A to D, right? We cannot go shift the Ferrari from first gear to sixth gear. We're going to stall out the whole thing. And I said, look, this whole time frame that this lineage, this timeline is only 18 to 24 months. It's only maybe 36 months. Worst case scenario, it's 48 months. Some of you guys, you had some debt, or you don't have the same profit, or you have to pull a bigger paycheck out of the business to take care of your family because you have immediate bills and you have 2 kids to support. Awesome. Everybody's life and circumstances are different. So let's go full circle to the truck. I said, in the fall of 2021, you can buy the truck. You can put $5,000 down and save $200 a month on the payment. But my attitude is go buy a dump insert, go buy an extra backpack blower, go find an extra buddy that you can throw on your team and start doing more leaf cleanups. If you want to buy the truck of fall 2021, you can do that. If you just want to make the other half-ton truck and just keep throwing the leaves in the back again, that's fine too. I feel like you're just going to have a bottleneck. And you know what? It's okay if you have that truck going into winter because you still have 10, 15, 20 grand of savings to pad, your $3,000 or $4,000 a month worth of bills. Now, again, the idea is don't sit around for those 3-4 months. Go pick up, go do more leaf cleanups, go do pine straw, go do snow plowing, go work part-time at Amazon, go work at Best Buy. We're doing holiday pay for 3 months, and they lay you guys off, the end of January because of after all the returns. That's what I did. I worked at a medical supply warehouse for 3 years. It was like $12 an hour. It was the stupidest job ever. I'm not even going to get into it. It was the stupidest job ever, but it was so easy. It was so cush. And I did snow removal with my snow blowers because I didn't, want to stop the business from growing because I was bringing on new customers. I wasn't getting the $250 a contract for a driveway, 6-7 years ago. Like, I wasn't banking on that. I was banking on the customers and building it and just taking on whatever I can to build that customer list to get the revenue to have year-round income. And so when I bought the truck and I bought my plow, it was no big deal for me to imagine making those payments through winter because I already had 25 or 30 residential accounts. Even though they were extremely cheap pricing, I started to grow my revenue and I did the same thing. I didn't just jump in with a plow truck and a snow plow. I had my little F-150, I had my little F-150 and I had my snow blowers. Right? So the stuff that I'm telling you guys to do, maybe you don't look cool. Maybe you don't look fancy. Maybe the other, outfit, the other contractor comes rolling through and he's got the Ram 3500 Laramie and he's got a silver, stainless Boss plow. It's like $8,000. And you're like, yeah, I got my little snow blowers. I did that. That was me. People laughed. People made fun. Who cares? I was the chuck in the truck. I was the new guy. I looked like an idiot. I had stuff that I didn't want to do. I was wrestling tarps, my first couple cleanups. I was in the exact same boat you guys were. When I re-upped for my Laser ZX and I got the bagger, that gave me so much more revenue because now I went from a 6-month lawn care business to an 8.5, 9 months maintenance business. Right? My first year, we probably did 8 to 10 grand in leaf cleanup spring and fall. Well, I already had the lawn care customer base, so it wasn't really, I had about, 75 customers. So it wasn't hard for me to expand a new service and pick up 25 leaf cleanups. It was just, law of the numbers. 30% of the people were going to want that service. Now, if you don't have the customers, keep that in mind as you grab new equipment. You want to have the revenue to pay for these new pieces of equipment and the debt that you take on. So that's it. That's all I'm going to say on this one. It's a super simple topic. Let's just make sure that we're keeping equipment working as long as we can. We do not need to just start throwing money around and go into debt. Let's think stair-step approach. They call it the peak-to-peak principle, right? You don't shift from a first gear to a sixth gear in the Ferrari, right? It wasn't more than an 18 or 24-month process for this guy to get a new mower, get a new trailer, upgrade the truck, upgrade the hand tools, get a vacuum, and take his revenue from $3,000-$4,000 a month to $10,000, $12,000, $15,000, $18,000 a month in an 18 to 24 month timeline. Well, I don't know how to get customers. We got a training program for that. Well, I got new commercials, accounts, but I don't know how to have a contract to bid a contract. We've got a contract you can download for $20. I don't know how to sell and close customers. Well, we have a sales training program coming in just the end of the month. How to sell jobs and close customers, right? So I'm giving you guys these resources that have worked for me for a long, long time, that have made us hundreds of thousands of, honestly, $1 million of revenue, and it's worked for me. And, hopefully this is just some candid stories. Again, my timeline and my life lineage with my equipment was the exact same way. I couldn't upgrade everything at once. I didn't have somebody, giving me $20,000, $30,000, $50,000. I didn't have $20,000, $50,000. I was growing it, everything that came in. And by the way, I had really crummy pricing. So I could have definitely shaved off 5 years of my business journey if I would have got my pricing right and my pricing better. And so Paul Jameson said this on one of his podcasts. He said, my ceiling is now somebody else's floor. And I said, I love that. So some of you younger guys that are just figuring this all out, you should be able to do what I just described in 18, 24, 36, 4 years tops. And that took me, the better part of 10, 12 years. So it's super exciting to see the growth and the gains you guys are making. My friend that I was having this whole conversation with, he said, he goes, I was just going to take the 16 grand, buy the truck, put 10 grand down, try to take 6 grand and figure out how to spread it over the rest of the business. And I said, well, if you do that, you get a cool truck, but you're never going to get over $3,000, $4,000 a month in revenue. You're tapped out. The bottleneck is the mower. The bottleneck was the trailer. The bottleneck was the leaf cleanup and the vacuum system. We can only do certain things at once. And I want you to keep some margin, keep that 10, 15 grand in the bank. Let's not blow that and run red line. And so this was about a 20 or 30 minute conversation that I had with him on a coaching call. I thought it was really fruitful, really helpful. I know he's listening, and I'm sure he doesn't mind us sharing this story because if it can help him, I know that he would probably enjoy being able to relate this story to you guys and help you guys grow your business. So that's what I got for you guys today. Again, want to just talk about the evolution of growing your business, growing your company, and how to purposefully, intentionally, strategically upgrade your equipment setup as we go. Lord knows I did exactly what I just told you guys, and I'm really, really happy I did. We grew the revenue, we took on some debt, we paid off the debt, we bought new things, and we just continued that cycle upwards and onwards. And that's what the big boys do. All right. So that's it. A couple resources that if you guys want to check out, I think it was episode 18 or 19. It's called Don't Dull the Scalpel. Really good story about how I use debt to leverage to grow my company tremendously in the last 36 months and to take our cash flow from $50,000 and $60,000 a year to about $200,000. So that's pretty cool. I'm not a hero. A lot of guys can do a lot bigger and a lot faster, but hey, good for them. I'm not in the compare game. For where I came from, I'm super happy with where my business is at today and my story the last 36 months. So, all right, guys, that's it. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Don't forget to leave those all-important 5-star ratings and the couple sentence reviews. We do appreciate that big time. Don't forget to check out equipmentdefender.com if you guys want to continue to upgrade those trailers that you guys are investing into with those trailer racks and blower racks for your equipment. Get them off the floor, guys. Get them off the bed of your trucks. Don't get your equipment stolen. A rack is $200. A trimmer is $300. Right there, you're going to pay for itself. A backpack blower rack is the better part of, $150 to $200. Look, don't be putting your BR800 on the bed of your truck. I've heard recently a dozen stories. Literally a dozen stories of people getting their stuff jacked. On Paul's podcast, he had some guests all over the place that were getting their equipment stolen recently. I've heard once a week I get something on Instagram. Help, had the backpack blower yanked from the bed of my truck. Look, don't be getting your equipment all banged up. Keep it secure, keep it safe, keep it working, keep it in pristine condition. Drop $200 on a blower rack. It'll be the best investment you guys can make, especially for you guys with utility trailers without not having to unload and reload every single day. Lord knows I had a utility trailer for 4, maybe 5 years, and every single day, every single rainstorm, I was throwing dry wraps on there. I was throwing all the trimmers and blowers in the shed. I'd always get caught in a rainstorm. Everything would get soaked. That was my way of power washing everything, just having fun. But if you don't want to keep unloading and reloading every single night, every single day, that's where the racks come into play. So guys, that's it. Thank you so much for listening. Thanks so much for checking out this episode of the podcast. We look forward to catching up with you guys on the next one.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.